Well, there was the Sisters with Voice from the As-Salaam Educational Institute. A round of applause for them, inshallah. They make me want to sing, but I can't even do anything like that. So, inshallah, I'll just have one of my esteemed speakers, Sheikh. Actually, I take a lot from him. He's been actually an instrumental individual in the society and in the community. As I did mention earlier on, some people you may not know them, but what they do, we can actually spot and identify. And I call upon none besides our Maulana Moosa Mkhize, inshallah, to address us.
As-Salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inna alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi nahmadu. ونستعين به ونسترشده ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن سيدنا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله وصفيه في الخلق وخليله صلوات الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. I had a lot of ayats of Quran to read before I came, so I'm not going to go in there. For simple reason is that for the first time I feel I am in Africa, so I have to do things like how Africans do them. And for the reason that when I was in a state, there's a gentleman called Buna Muhammad. I need to tell him that he's better watch out because we got our own Buna Muhammad in South Africa, a good poet. Allah give that going. Dear friends, the biggest mistake in my life is to try and prepare for 15 minutes talk. It took me like 2 weeks, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish 15 minutes. But if you just got me up and say speak for 5 hours, alhamdulillah, that will go very easily without preparation. There's 3 things I want to concentrate on today. That means 5 minutes in each. Why do we need institutions like As-Salaam? I wasn't insulting, I was just asking. All right, never mind. These kind of institutions are institutions that bring a different breed of Muslims that come in. Those Muslims that in any factor, by the way, I was supposed to have been a student in As-Salaam back in the 70s or something like that, and it never happened. So, but my heart is still with As-Salaam as well. I told them that no, As-Salaam was a big name for us as well in the 70s. I had a choice between Mia's farm and As-Salaam. Now I knew how was Mia's farm because of the cousins, and I thought As-Salaam would have been an easier way. But anyway, Allah decided something else. Why institutions like As-Salaam? You see, we have to start understanding that the Muslim community is a community that is, you know, we can't call you a community where there's a variety or a rainbow community, but we are a people of diverse cultures, and we are people of diverse communities, but yet have got exactly the same mission. The students that go to these particular institutions are people who will go back to people that don't know anything about Islam. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِيُنذِرُوا قَوْمَهُمْ إِذَا رَجَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَحْذَرُونَ. That when they go back to their houses, their responsibility is way higher, is more greater, because they are going to meet people who don't know who Allah is. And they become instrumental in actually changing the lives of other people, or even changing the thought and the understanding of Islam in other people. Without these particular institutions, then Islam will only move around, like in the old days, you know, our money only went around our families. I'll marry my Hagawala so that when I get married, the money don't move out of the family. So Islam will remain within the Hagas, and Islam will remain within a particular community, it won't go out. But when we use this kind of institution and collect different types of youngsters, the kind of talent that we see tonight, these are the people that are going to go with their own kind of aspirations and culture And go to people who understand when a young man says, why I'm wearing jeans. Allahu Akbar, and he speaks like that in front of his peers, but he's only pointing out at one thing, that Allah is the greatest. That young man, he will touch somebody else's heart who is in that kind of a lifestyle, who enjoys that kind of a way of life, and who's not being coerced into something new or different, but rather within his community, and is able to touch somebody's life and bring that person closer to understand who Allah is. Wallahi, there is nothing more greater. A Muslim's life is simple. We are in this life in order to obtain the highest level in Akhirat. In your life, you only have got 20, maybe 40. If you're lucky, you'll go up to 100 years. But the life that you have to prepare for is for everlasting. And forever means when all the numbers are finished, then eternity starts. So how are you going to ensure that you actually become successful forever and ever? On your own, it's impossible. The only way that a person can actually accumulate sufficiently in order to show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to prove himself in front of Allah, in order to impress Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is by having an effect into somebody else's life, either directly or indirectly. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Ad-dalu ala khairin kafa'ilihi." A person who guides towards that which is good is like the one who has done the good deed himself. Imagine a man who has never ever learned how to read Quran, and yet he has got a share of Hufaz that came under him. He has never ever went to school. My uncle at Standard 5 could not even sign his check. I remember we used to write it for him, and he will make that simple 2 lines. That was his signature. Billionaire in his time when he died. But behind the person like that, he gives institutions like this. And under his belt, only Allah knows how many hufaz have come up, how many good things have happened, how many masjids were built by people that he looked after without even knowing who they are or where they come from. This is how one prepares for his akhirat. This is how one impresses on Allah by good deeds. Not just good deeds that you can do as an individual in your own, but good deeds that you plant onto others and let them go and do what you cannot do. Islam, you can never be successful on your own. Success in Islam is only when you make the next man successful, then you yourself become successful. Islam, it is when you have what we call in Urdu hamdardi. And I don't want to tell you I know how to speak Urdu properly, but hamdardi means that when you have good desire for somebody else more than you have for yourself. That is hamdardi. When a Muslim's life is a person who's supposed to desire good for others. Now when you desire good, you always want to be part and parcel of any good. Abu al-Atahiya says it nice. He says, "Al-haqqu ahaqqu an yuhabba ahlu." That truth, it is more rightful that the people of truth be more beloved to us. Because when there's good, wherever there is good, we as people of good, we should actually find reasons to be part and parcel of every single good deed that happens. If I cannot do it myself, get somebody else involved to go and do that good deed that I cannot do. I usually say when I speak to ulama, and I'm not going to take long, I've promised myself that I'm going to be a good boy today. I usually say to ulama that if Allah has made all of us exactly the same, this world would be the most boring thing. Islam will only be practiced at random, and only one part of Islam will be practiced. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has divided this Islam amongst us in different ways. There are those who, mashallah, they can make 10,000 duroos a day. Now, how many of us can really say that I can make 10,000 duroos a day? But there are some people, Allah give tawfiq. There's nothing much they do, but he does 10,000 durood. And then there's a person who's a namazi. He gets in his house, he makes 2 rakats, thanks Allah that he managed to arrive home safely. Before he leaves, he makes 2 rakats, he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for him as he's going out. While he's in his car, somebody is driving, he makes 2 rakats, nafil salah, so that Allah takes him out and protects him. His whole life is in salah. There are people who are, mashallah, in dhikr, and they imagine if Allah has not kept us different types of deen in different quarters, how much of deen would have been lost, let alone not practiced upon. But a Muslim makes sure that he does not lose or miss out in any good that happens in any of those. Because if he cannot do that, Muhajirin came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say, "Ya Rasulullah, we are Ansar, they're from here. Whenever you need something, they have their wealth, they have their families, they have their own people around them. They are able to do more than we do. They have wealth, they have everything else. When we go for jihad, there's more of them becoming shaheed than us. How can we actually compete with such type of people when Allah says, sabiqu, Allah says compete for akhirat? How are we going to compete with people who've got more than we have? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at them and he said to them, it is possible that you can also receive exactly the same reward. They say, how can we do that? He said, ma athnaytum alayhim wa da'utumullahu lahum. As long as you praise them for the good that they do and you make dua for them, that, oh Allah, make it easy for them to do this good and let them go and grow from strength to strength, you receive exactly the same reward. Now I'm saying the final challenge comes in to us as a community. Ask yourself, how is it that somebody else gets more good than I do? If I meet Allah today and He says, but I gave you a chance to do good, why didn't you do? Now, if I am honest with myself, there are certain things that I'm not very good at them. They are part and parcel of Allah's commands, but I'm not particularly inclined in it. So I wouldn't sit and read Durood Sharif 10,000 a day. Not that I don't like Rasulullah, it's just that my ability is not there. There are other things I can do probably, but there's certain things I can't. But if I were to find somebody who reads 10,000 Duroods a day, even if I cannot sit in his company, I would look at him. You know when you can't kiss Hajar Aswad, you lift your hand and you make istilam. I'll do that to him because he does more than what I can do. I make dua that Allah give him more than what, because had it not been for his durood, we wouldn't have been any some. Probably all surviving simply because he reads 10,000 duroods. We don't know what Allah looks at. But because I can't do that, it doesn't mean that I look down upon him, but rather I make dua that Allah takes him forward. Now the challenge for us as a community is, why is it that we do not empower such type of institution that they can reach to a university level? Maybe some of us have never been to university, but if we empower this kind of, As-Salaam is a giant, 1960. Some of the guys who were born in 1960, they're already dead. And Alhamdulillah, As-Salaam is still alive. For this As-Salaam to survive, it's upon me and you to make this a conscious decision to say, inshallah, if we cannot become part and parcel of the management or teachers or trustees, the minimum that we will do, we will be the donors and make sure that it carries on until the day we leave. Leave an endowment for this kind of places so that they keep on going, so that you can receive while you are in your grave, inshallah. This is a challenge that we have. Then I have a challenge for As-Salaam management. I know they won't call me after this, so I might as well spoil it out. You can't be in Standard 1 from 1960 till today. Where is our first Muslim university? And if not As-Salaam to spearhead this idea, then who? Obama Figizol, guys who just came in yesterday? It has to be you, because you started with this for years. Allah has brought this institution up from 1960. Surely by now we'd be mature enough that we should think a little bit further than just a college, than just a school. We should now be thinking about having a proper Muslim, if not an Islamic university, at least a Muslim university. What stops us? The reason is when we start thinking that we are the ones who are going to have to work hard and it is upon us to get it done, it will never get done. But if we realize that what we are and what we are given as a responsibility is not ours, is Allah's. And if we tell Allah, now we are moving to the next step, you take us there, Allah will give us the first university as As-Salaam University. There should be an As-Salaam University. It's long overdue. And if As-Salaam does not do it, believe you me, there is nobody else who's got this kind of mileage. You know, when you have a pilot, you're hiring a pilot, the first thing you ask, say, by how many hours have you flown? If a guy tell me I just flown for about 17 hours, tell him, mashallah, go back, go fly again. I'll only trust you with my life when we have done scores of hours on the air, then we know that you can do it. As-Salaam has done it from 1960. It's just that we don't believe that we are the right people. Allah has spearheaded this education through As-Salaam, and Allah will spearhead this university through As-Salaam. So the management should start thinking ahead. And fear not that we don't have funds, we don't have land, we don't have this. Al-ardu kulluhu lillah. The whole world belongs to Allah. We have to make that firm intention that inshallah we're going for it. Put our heads together. What they say, aqil thumma tawakkal. First you tie your camel and then put your trust in Allah. The very same people who never wanted to see As-Salaam coming into being will be the very same people who will empty their coffers to keep As-Salaam going. So beloved friends, this is an opportunity for every one of us. It's unfortunate South Africa, we can't even tell if I were to ask anybody or any organization how many people become Muslims a year? How many people accept Islam yearly? Anybody got an idea? It's because we don't keep data, we don't know. We don't pay attention in what we do. I ask you how many people become murtad at the same time, you'll be surprised that there's more people becoming murtad than those who are becoming Muslims. Then you ask yourself, why is this happening? There are certain things that we're not doing correctly. So for us to actually be able to regard Islam as the highest authority in our lives, we need to pay attention into Islam and what happens in the community of Muslims like we do in our own businesses. A man cannot open up his shop and he only makes up 3,000 rands profit from 1960 until today we're only making 3 grand. We're most content people. It doesn't work like that. Every man wants to see himself going higher. So we as a community, not just the As-Salaam management before they chase me, all of us, we need to understand where are we going? Where do we want to see Islam in the next 5 years? Where do we want to see Muslims in the next 10 years? What is our contribution to make sure that we reach that particular direction? How are we going to make sure that Islam reaches every baked and unbaked home? These are things that we should start be thinking of. Until today, we haven't realized that we have got a college, we still need a university. When are we going to realize that we have got bigger things and bigger work that is cut out for us that we still have to do? So, my 15 minutes is up. So the first thing I would say is that, brothers and sisters, first let's all make firm intention that for Islam, our lives will be finished. We will give to Allah the last cent we have if we have to. We will breathe the last breath for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly is we will have this desire to see Islam and Muslims moving forward. And if I cannot do it myself, I will be behind somebody who's doing it. As-Salaam started 1960. As-Salaam is doing it today. As-Salaam needs you so that it can do it tomorrow. Be an intellectual and prepare for your akhirat by backing a winning horse. Deen is a winning horse. There is no any other horse that wins. You can go down the road and go and sit there for a couple of hours and bet. Those horses, even if they win, they're not winning horses. The only winning horse here is Islam. So back those who are working in this field. Back those who are means of people getting hidayat. Back those who are educating people about Allah and educating the society about what Allah wants. Then you will realize that your journey or this corridor that you are passing through called earth has been the most mabruk time that we have ever had. Through this, you will obtain eternity, and inshallah you will meet Allah while Allah is happy with you. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq, that we spend our life correctly. I usually say I'm a Joburg guy. Where we come from, we only got one life. So if you lose it, there's no any other one. Probably in Durban, because you're near the sea, got 9 lives. So if you mess this one up, you can do the next one can be okay. But where I come from, we only got 1 life. So in 1 life, if you mess it, forever it's gone. But if you use this life correctly, you invest in the right places, you invest behind the right people, inshallah, forever and ever you are comfortable. Finally, please make sure you know who Allah is before you die, because that's the first questions that you're going to get. If you can't recognize Allah in this world, I wonder how you expect to recognize Allah when you're in a grave. Because the first question is asked is, Man Rabbuk? So let's recognize Allah. When we recognize Allah, it will be easier for us to spend every cent behind anything that has Allah's name. Allah give us all tawfiq. Wa akhiru da'wana. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin.
MashaAllah, barakallahu fiqh, Shaykhana, Allah yahfidhuk. I would like to call upon the chairman, inshallah. We'll be giving some community awards and some of the other awards we have in the list, inshallah. Yes, of course, I'll start with the school, inshallah, and then right down to ILP, and then afterward we'll have the community awards, inshallah. So if I may, immediately, inshallah, call upon Naum CB, who was very instrumental and very dynamic student in the intermediate phase. You know, he has outdone himself, so inshallah, if I can have him approach the podium immediately. Naum CB. Oh, paparazzi is this side, so inshallah we... MashaAllah. Our next student will be Gwanele Mvubu from the senior phase. Gwanele Mvubu. MashaAllah. And we have Ashraf Khan. I like to call him like that. Ashraf Khan from the Epiglotis. Inshallah. He's from the FET level, inshallah. Ashraf. MashaAllah. Okay, we'll also have our ILP students, inshallah. I'll immediately start with Benelwa Tandukolo. Tandukolo Benelwa. Okay, yeah, and we'll have Mahadi Moosa Juma. I know when I say Juma, people they think I'm saying Duma, so this one is the J, Juma. It's Duma, Juma, and then Zuma, so I come first, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. And the one who will be joining right after Moosa Juma will be Hamza Msomi. Msomi Hamza, if you may approach the floor, inshallah. MashaAllah alaik. Maulana Habib Milanzi, you'll be approaching us very immediately, inshallah, for the community awards. The first person will be Maulana Habib Milanzi, inshallah, if you may approach the podium. Maulana Habib Milanzi, people. Yeah, because he's a dynamic speaker, he has to say some few words, inshallah. We give him a minute to actually give some nasiha. MashaAllah, I like the way he's dressed as well. Can you see this?
I forgot
Is it? I didn't type it. Usutu.
As-Salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. As-Salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Linjani. Inna alhamdulillahi wa salatu wa salamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da wa ala alihi wa ashabihi as-siddiq wa safa. I've got nothing much to say but just one thing. You know, the shairi says, وَغَيْرُ تَقِيٍّ يَأْمُرُ النَّاسِ بِالتُّقَى طَبِيبُ يُدَاوِي وَالطَّبِيبُ مَرِيضٌ. That it is in a sense that a person advocate piety, I tell you to become pious, yet I am not pious. It's like طَبِيبُ يُدَاوِي وَالطَّبِيبُ مَرِيضٌ. It's like a doctor who is treating a patient, yet